Yeah, well, John, some were actually taking refuge in a Sportran bus the fire department brought in. It was actually parked just behind me here on my left side. Not anymore. The families have been returned safely back to their homes. Definitely a windy day today here in DeKalb, Texas, but the speed is not nearly as fast as it was last night. It completely ripped the roof off of this home behind me. Neighbors tell me a couple lives here. They're on their way in from out of town. This is the welcome they'll be receiving. After searching for 10 minutes, we finally found the 2-inch marker that separates their property from the city's. Behind this building, there are actually a pack of at least 10 wild boar. They are big. I've never seen anything like it before, but the adults look like they stand at around 2 feet high. This is a regular occurrence for the students here at Southern University. Well, Diamond Jacks is in constant competition with these 7 other casinos that are in the Shreveport-Bossier area, and it's the only one with its own freeway exit. But Diamond Jacks hasn't been the jewel that its name implies. If the owners decide to scrap their current building and move to a new location, that new instantly speed through here, run through red lights, and even turn into oncoming traffic. Well, I can tell you I've seen all 3 of those violations. Just earlier this afternoon, a truck was actually coming down off of the Texas Street Bridge, then tried to make a left into the Spring Street here. Spring Street is a one-way. 1,000 people over 60 years old wait on a list just to receive 1 hot meal a day from the Valley's Meals on Wheels program. But one 80-year-old I spoke with is battling that fight for food with cans. He's known as the Can Man.
My name is J.R. Johnson, but everybody calls me Bill.
This is his story.
Social Security don't pay a whole lot.
So he feeds himself.
I get 50 cents a pound for cans.
Do you think that's enough money for you?
Well, it ain't enough, but that's what I have to do till I break down on these wheelchairs.
Through his own hard work, Johnson covers 35 miles a day. This wheelchair runs 7 days a week. He keeps 3 more on rotation, tucked away on his front yard.
I can't hold out to walk. I got COPD. And I can't hold out to walk. That's one thing about it. And I got rods in my legs. I got a new hip, all replaced the ball and the joint both. And then my back's busted up.
Despite his disabilities, Johnson says he enjoys his rides and he's not interested in a handout. Like him, if you are over 60 and need help getting your meals, you may be eligible to get free food from Meals on Wheels. The program also provides centers where people can go and get their free meals straight from there, but in order to get that home delivery service, farmers usually only need to dig 1 finger length, that's right, 1 finger length deep in the soil to plant a cotton seed. But with the lack of water, Spence Pennington is forced to go half a foot deep for a shot at hitting some moist soil. You're looking at the first cotton leaves to come out of the ground.
There's the irrigated part of the farmland in the Rio Grande Valley, and then there's the pure dry land.
That's where we are, pure dry land. That's the only way to describe the soil these days. Here's how the planting works. So this is the tender. This is what loads the tractor with the cotton seeds. Planting would normally be done by now.
We haven't had our average rainfall in certain areas over the past 2 years. In one area, we're over 10 inches behind just for 1 year.
It's so dry, farmers are having a hard time planting for next season's harvest.
They're waiting on rainfall, and they need it quickly.
Dale Murden, he's in a bit better shape with his citrus farms.
I feel for those guys in the dryland areas that don't have the ability to irrigate.
The deadline for planting cotton is early April. Farmer Spence Pennington hopes for rain to come before then, or he'll have to plant dry and keep fingers crossed.
You try not to let it affect you because you'd never sleep.
These tiny signs of life may not last long. They're barely surviving.
These north winds have been pretty drying.
The sand keeps piling high with no rain to mix it all back in the ground.
And that sand is like a sand blaster.
It'll keep on eating the fragile leaves away. They say moisture is normally built up in the fall and winter months. This year, that has not happened. Now farmers could have less of a crop. At worst, they'll have no crop at all, which means no money. Live in studio, I'm Sierra Pizarro for Channel 5 News at 6. 10 patrol officers monitor the city. I rode alongside their commander. This is what he showed us.
radio check, Charles 31 miles to be 77 and 238. They just reduced their speed right now.
Greetings from Los Fresnos.
We're known as a speed trap here.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. It's kind of a little embarrassing.
That has been a rumor and something that's been said for 30, 40 years. So
you have to be careful when you get off of 77 onto 100 and going to South Padre Island, because they work this whole thing.
You'll find the through town name peppered throughout the internet, described as a speed trap. There's a discrepancy, though, between the notoriously given speed trap title and what city leaders say.
You're always going to get complaints about speeding stuff, and I think this city's always been targeted as a speed trap, which we don't see ourselves that way. Our primary duty is to keep the people that travel to Los Fresnos safe.
you know, over the last year, 4 speeding tickets a day. There's not very many citations. 24-hour period, that's 1 every 6 hours. I can't see how that would be a speed trap, and that kind of bad stigma that we have. Could it have been true before? Maybe it could have, but it's certainly not today.
Small towns tend to have speed traps, and that's a lot of revenue for them.
So we looked at the numbers. Los Fresnos gained just over $400,000 in 2014 and 2015 from speeding citations. Last year, though, that revenue cut in half. Does it hurt?
Not really. I mean, we don't use municipal court revenue to support the city and do things. We're focused on getting businesses in the community, you know, increasing our property tax because we have more business, increasing sales tax as people purchase things in the community, and so that's where our focus of where our revenue needs to come from.
Whatever the focus, the Los Fresnos community maintains this warning for the drivers passing through their city.
No, as long as you're familiar with it, you don't have a problem. If you're not paying attention, you're going to get a ticket or two. So.
Commander Rodriguez tells me that rumor is false. He does say they won't be stopping drivers going